Spoiler warning! I'll be talking about the first episode of Blackrock Shooter Downfall in this video. And if you haven't seen the episode yet, then I suggest you watch it first and then come back here. Okay? Okay, just to clarify things, I may call familiar characters like Dead Master or Strength a lot for a while, since I don't exactly know their exact names in this show, so stick with me for it for a while, alright? So the episode starts with what looks like to be Strength, or at least that's Strength's new design, fighting a ton of enemies on her own. And she yells out looking out for someone named Empress. And as stated in the trailer, they're talking about Blackrock Shooter here. She gets surrounded by them, and we move to the next scene as we see Dead Master on the run from the same enemies Strength is currently fighting. She all destroys them with her drone and afterwards while in midair, and that was just a badass thing to see, not gonna lie. But as she gets separated from her bike, she falls into the ground, asking the same question Strength did earlier, asking the whereabouts of Blackrock Shooter. We then get shots of Strength about to be ripped apart, while Dead Master just falls to the ground, while dozens of those things fill the screen, and the title appears. Then we just enter a chaotic scene. Explosions everywhere, fighter jets passing by. Everything was just in chaos. We then see our main protagonist lying on the floor, beaten up as someone walks towards her. And while that was happening, we get to see shot by shot of the enemy ripping out Strength's arm while also filling Dead Master with bullets. The enemy talks to Blackrock Shooter saying everything was useless, as we then zoom in on the moon for some reason and get some unsettling scenes. We then stare into Blackrock Shooter's eye as her iconic flame appears until it dies out, and Dawnfall just fills up the screen. We then time jump to AD 2062 in San Francisco. It's filled with weird plants, weird life, buildings are halfly destroyed and barely standing. We see soldiers looking at a giant beast supplying humans into the Iron Ocean, whatever that means. The soldiers leave it alone and they leave the area. As they were traveling, we get to see dead bodies, rotten buildings, more of those enemies from earlier, and two kids running into an abandoned facility area. Afterwards, we see Blackrock Shooter, or now known as Empress, waking up alone, confused, as a white house appears in front of her and flashes of random images appear. She panics and we see her inside a chamber. She breaks free out of it and just doesn't remember anything. She gets flashes from what looks like to be her past as her head hurts and says to herself Lighthouse number 8. She doesn't understand what's going on and stumbles upon her old clothes. We then go back to those same kids who enter the abandoned facility. They wander around the area as it seems everything has been polluted with arch, I guess, making the air or water or any resources hard to handle. As they keep on walking, they stumble upon a glowing door as Blackrock Shooter asks them for help. As they were about to leave due to stranger danger, a Titan appears. No, not that Titan, but this Titan. And the boy charges in to fight it to protect his younger sister. He gets knocked out and the sister tries to help by holding a grenade up, as Empress then tells her to help her get out of there, as she was born to fight, as she assumed. She frees Blackrock Shooter with a grenade, and as she came out, she just looks really cool. I love her new design, by the way. Then we know that the same girl from earlier was watching through the Titan's eyes as she says to herself, "It's been such a long time." And as she faced the Titan, she pulled out her gun and realized she doesn't know how to use it. So she beats the heck out of it with her pistol. She doesn't shoot it, she beats it with it and used its arm against it. As explained later, she doesn't remember anything. Once she defeats the Titan, they talk it out for a bit as more of them were approaching. We then cut to them outside running away from their pursuers, and my god, does the Titan suck at aiming. But anyways, after deciding not to abandon the two, she charges in towards the enemy hoping to defeat them on her own. She gets shot multiple times and just as she was about to be overrun, a bike just entered the battlefield, causing confusion to not just Black Rock Shooter, but to me as well. But the music playing was so good, so I'll let it pass just this once. The bike beats all of the titans in the area and apparently speaks, and it's hers. As more of their enemies were approaching, she rides the bike along with the two kids as we get a minor jump scare. And we get introduced to the villains, a naked doll and a cute girl named Lunatic. Truth be told, he freaks me the hell out, so I hope he doesn't appear as much as possible in the anime, cause my god, he's so creepy. He does a villain speech and sends out his goons, yada yada yada, while we go back to Black Rock Shooter, still being chased by the titans. They defeat some, and I think it's pretty cute that the bike has a name like Black Rock Biker. That's just so adorable. After defeating their pursuers, more arrived until they got shut down by the army. Well, from earlier. It seems like she were their target all along. Once everything was done, the army blocked their way, and to sum it all up, the Project Elysian was made, but its core became the artificial intelligence named Artemis. Probably the girl sitting on the moon right now, which she chose to attack humanity, building a bridge from Earth to the moon to send down more larger troops. And Black Rock Shooter is to destroy that said bridge, as that was she was made for. But as they were talking, the colonel gets confused as the boy told him about her condition. They then spot an enemy spider coming for them. As they were about to leave, the colonel asks her to leave the kids, but she doesn't want to do that. He tells her where they live and she plans to bring them there. Just as they were about to go, the colonel blocks their path, as the spider titan, I guess, fires on them. Black Rock Shooter makes their escape as the regular titans already made their way into their defenses, killing the men without any noise whatsoever. The spider titan then goes after Black Rock Shooter and a little chase occurred. The troops were getting wrecked by the enemy as the colonel makes his escape. Back to Black Rock Shooter, a titan managed to get in front of them and causes them to flip right over. She opens up her hand and a blue light appears as she grabs the two kids, bringing them closer to her, I guess. Empress then hides the two kids behind a wreckage as she says she remembered something, and touches the torn apart titan that got in front of them, and manipulating the Archie, in which I still don't understand what an Archie is, but it forms a giant gun and she fires at the spider titan heading their way. But it still wasn't enough. I love the small detail here when they realize the spider titan wasn't down yet, and the little sister automatically readies another grenade just in case. Her giant gun dissipates, and just as they were about to be shot, someone enters the battlefield and takes out the spider titan. It was Strength. As she calls out her name and plunges towards her, that's where the episode ends. Now if I were to rate this episode, I would give it an 8 out of 10. Now my reason for this is that it feels like everything is happening way too fast. Or it could just be me. But I enjoyed almost all of it. The animation shifting from 2D into 3D was pretty cool. The choreography was pretty good. I love Black Rock Shooter's new design, and I'm just pretty much curious about the story and where it's heading. That's it for today, so I hope you guys enjoyed that reaction or review, and I'll be seeing you guys next time. See ya!